the last couple days, we have had a very different market. So for the longest time, the market has been absolutely volatile. You have 2,000 point swings, 2,500 point swings, up and down and up and down. I used to date this girl that was bipolar, and it's literally like dealing with that again. I would come home and I wouldn't know what was facing me. I mean, it was nuts. Um, so, with that being said, you don't really want to date somebody that's bipolar. In fact, if you're ever dating somebody and they even mention bipolar and manic depressive in the first person singular, that's your breakup call. And if you stick around, that's your fault. But anyway, in the market, that's what we've seen throughout the month of March. And I think people just didn't really know what to make of this whole COVID thing. If it's going up or down, is it short term, long term? And I think we have so many things baked in that you don't see things moving a whole lot. So again, with that relationship, it's like you're so used to not expecting when you come home, you're just numb. You're just whatever. I'm I'm gonna walk in the door, and whatever's there. I mean, she could be passed out, drunk, or high on the couch, and finding this big pizza box and vodka bottles all over. And yes, that did happen. Or she could be halfway normal. I just don't care. If she's halfway normal, whatever. I don't care. And I'm expecting the kind of the worst anyway. So I think that's where the market's at right now, as we see it very much flat. So if you look right here, we're basically break even for the day on the market. And let's take a look what we have here. So we're break even for the day for the market. I was just looking at the Dow, that's up today. And then we're up a little bit after hours, although that doesn't mean much. So we're going to go over something that I haven't really talked about too much in these videos, but it's an important part that we want to basically pay attention to if we're going to be on our goal and make the type of returns that we want to make, which are about 5 to 600,000, closer to 600,000, 5 to 600%, closer to 600%. So as we go to our screener, we're going to look at the holdings we have, and overall we're doing very, very well. We have BHR, which is Braemar Resorts. We're pulling 132% on that. We did UCO, which we can ungreen out today. Green is when we have newly executed stock trade. So I bought at 198, it's at 189. Pretty much break even. Let's kind of ignore that for now. And for the most part, we're staying the same. We're clearing 26% on active accounts and 26% on stuff that we've already cleared. But let's go ahead. And so typically what we do is, this is a list of all the stocks that I have in my Robinhood account. And if you haven't signed up for a Robinhood account, it's free. You get a free stock. And it's honestly a great platform. It's a better platform than anything else I use. So click on the link there. And just a heads up, I think they gave me a free stock. So it's not like I make any real money on it. But who knows? The first stock that I got was Groupon, and it's worth all of 87 cents right now. So there's my unbiased plug. So I went ahead, end of day, plugged in all the current numbers on here, and that feeds into holdings and what the value is. And then I took all that information, copied all of these cells, and pasted it into a new one, and then sorted it by upside. So we're still looking at UCO at 8.29, which is really good, but I'm happy with what I have right now. The next one is at 4.76, and that is Redwood. What is that? Redwood Trust, I think. It's a REIT. And we don't have a buy for that, so I'm leaving that alone for right now, but I am paying attention to it. The only reason I do that is I have a bunch of REITs already, so I don't want to get too heavy on that. But if we start to see this price slide, let's say it goes down to 3, we're looking at 5.82. If we're looking at 3.5, it's almost 5%. I'll probably pull a limit order on that if it gets down to that amount. GNC is in trouble, so we're not touching that right now. Maybe somebody comes in and buys them out, but I don't think so. I think there's a lot of predatory people out there who have a ton of patience, and they're going to let it drop even further. But it's at 48 cents per share. Before this all happened, it was only at 2.24, so they weren't really doing all that great anyway. So IVR Invesco Real Estate's done pretty well. We have holdings on that right here. It's clearing 42% so far, and I haven't even owned it that long. So we're going to stay with that. And then we look at the next tier. These are all the ones that have analyst recommendations. So we have one for MBLX that's pending. I don't own anything of that right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And do I have MBLX? I do not. So what we need to do is we need to turn this yellow because it's a limit order. And we'll do yellow on the original one. There we go. All right, it's a battle to stay on top of these things. So we have a limit order on that. It says 0% buys. That just means nobody's buying, so nobody's selling. It's all a hold, which is fine. That's in the middle of the road. And then ERI, Eldorado Resorts, these people are going to buy Caesar's Palace, but without the stock drop, it's being held up only because I think they're going to try to reprice the deal, because I think they were agreeing to buy Caesar's at a certain price, all their stock, but the stock price cratered, so I think they're renegotiating as far as what they're going to pay for that stock, which is good because it'll cost them a lot less money. So they're doing what we're doing right now. They're buying near the bottom of the market, and that's going to be a huge deal. And that actually might send this stock price up to above 70, but we'll see. This one has a ton of upside. Beyond that, as we drop down under 4% under the upside, we have one down here, PVAC. This is Penn, Virginia. It's an oil-based company, and their ratings are awesome. They don't have any ratings on Robinhood, but everything I've read is there's a ton of upside. They're pretty much insulated from a lot of the price of oil drop that we've seen lately. So I'm willing to have a limit order on that, but you'll see the difference between $4, it's where the limit order is, and $5.45. So with that being said, the market's not really moving, so we shouldn't really be moving unless we see a good reason to do so. Overall, as we went into here, we see some positive ones on some of the early ones that we took losses on initially before the bottom hit, but after that we see relatively small amounts. So the market's not moving, which means we shouldn't be quick to move either. As we go down, most of them are in the green, but outside of Latin American Airlines, we'll take a look at that one. We see relatively small gains, small losses. So that just tells us to be patient. So we go down here. Are there any other ones that we're looking at? PVAC went up. All right, and we'll look at that one too. So Latin American Airlines, they are out of, I want to say they're out of Mexico. Am I right? No, Chile. That's the one out of Chile. So this one is up 10% today. Let's take a look at the last month. So actually, let's go to 3 months. On Death Day, as I like to call it, February 20th, it was priced at $865, got down all the way down to $175, and it's up to $390. So as we break down the trend, looks like it's on an upward trend overall. So look on the week, on the upward week, so that's looking really good. However, good doesn't work for us. So if we look at Latin American Airlines, we're going to have to scroll down quite a bit. And they are fourth from the bottom. So they only have a 2.5 upside. So we're not touching that one. The fact that it went up makes it a little bit less attractive, ironically. So that being said, we're going to ignore that one for now. Take a mental note. We might come back to it. But Penn, Virginia, that's the one that I was telling you had a lot of really good analysis going on. I mean, it blew out its earnings last time. It met its earnings the time before, and they said it's really well hedged for all the stuff that's going on. So we looked about a month ago. The lowest it got was about $1. Let's go about to one of the other dips, about $2.28. And one of the other dips, we'll call it $2.82. So we have a limit order buy for $4. And this, we actually had this for $3.50 before, but decided to bump it up to $4 because this trend line is awesome. This definitely is going up in the right direction. It's very consistent. There's no big bipolar drops. I mean, overall, we'd say over the last year, it's been relatively flat in the middle, maybe a little bit down, but as of February 20th, it was 17.18, and we're sitting at $5. So basically a little over 3 to 1. And I normally wouldn't buy that, except everything I've read on this, even though it doesn't show Robinhood analyst number, was really, really good. Oh, not this one, duh. It was this one. It doesn't have a Robinhood analyst number. Still over 3%. That's a safe one I'm willing to throw some money at. So as we go down to our holdings, we will do, if this gets down to $4, it's currently at $5.45. We'll buy it at $4. It has a $4 upside. I'm willing to be flexible on this and move up a little bit, but I'm kind of waiting for a day when the market takes a tank because that's where it helps all this. Eldorado Resorts, this was at $15 before. I bumped it up to $15.75. By the way, I'm deciding that I'm actually adding a link where you can actually view this document and play with the numbers. You can use it for your own format if you'd like. You can actually go through and take a deep dive on this. And there'll be a link in the video description where you can actually go and get it. But if it goes down to $15.75, we have an upside of basically 4.5, which is good for somebody who has a merger or a buyout coming through. MBLX, that's one of the REITs that we're doing, and IVR Invesco is another REIT we're doing. So MBLX, it's currently at 5. If it gets down to 3.5, then we'll do it. It has a 5.75. That's still pretty high, so I have some flexibility here, but I'm not in a rush. The market's flat. There's no reason to move this up unnecessarily if we don't have to. And this one is a little bit of a flyer that I took anyway. You can see the volume isn't really as high as the other one, so I'm willing to wait this one out a little bit. And then IVR Invesco Real Estate, this one is at 4.13. This one has the best chance of going down to and getting it bought versus any of the other ones. So that would be at $3, and we already own this here at $2.90, so it keeps the cost basis around the same, and it's currently pulling 42% from when I bought it at $2.90. So if it goes back down to here from $4.13, we'll take a hit right here, take a hit on the overall gain, but we're going to get our cost basis at a much larger amount, and it'll basically more than double what we have here. So it'll be a nice little gain. So overall, these are all looking very, very good. This one's super early, and this is a little flyer one I threw anyway just because the upside's so high. So overall, as we go to the projections, we have everything right here. And let's format this one correctly because I don't like stuff that's out of bounds. Currency. There we go. So yeah, so the holdings we have right now are slated to earn 557%. The limit orders, if they go through, are at 509, which tells me hopefully there's going to be some buys in the future that are even better, even though we're probably on the upside of the curve right now, and we're slated for a 542% increase to give a grand total of 120,000. So let's do what we always do, and we'll go to Dow futures. It might be a little bit too early to see this today, and they don't always tie into our portfolio. Again, this is just futures for the Dow, but it overall gives them market sentiment. So if we see any big moves on this, then it kind of gives us a hint of what we're looking for. So yesterday, these were up slightly. Again, these are down slightly. This really doesn't mean anything. 0.06, 0.04, and 0.17 are meaningless. And I'm just looking at this title, Banks' Big Fat Dividends Are Under Fire. So, okay, so what they're saying right here is the banking stocks offer dividends to attract investors, but when the bank's margins are low because people aren't paying their mortgage payments because they had 30, they had 3 months where they don't have to, you're going to see the profits plunge, and the stockholders are mad because they're handing out dividends, but their stock price is dropping. And the analysts are probably rating it lower because of that. So with that being said, it's a dead even, flat, waveless ocean right now. And the good news is if it goes down tomorrow to any degree and it hits any of these, we're going to get a bargain basement price. If it goes up, then we're going to see our yield go up right here. And if it stays flat, it just means we need to be patient. So again, this is where one of these things, if you guys ever read the book Anti-Fragile, they talk about this. One of the biggest times you can ever make a mistake in your life is when you make a decision that you don't have to make. And in medicine, there's a term in Greek called an iatrogenic illness or condition or outcome, meaning it's doctor generated. So it's when you do something that you didn't have to do, and if you had left it alone, it would have been a better outcome. So you think of like a celebrity that has uh, bad plastic surgery. If you just left it alone, it would age a little bit, but it'd be okay. But then when you have a botched plastic surgery, they look like they're walking into a fun house mirror. So we want to avoid that. We don't want to sit here and feel urgent or anxious or impatient, feeling like we need to get something at a particular price. We're going to sit here and we're going to see if we can get this price right here. If we can't, if we can get it, it's great because we get a bonus bargain price and our upside's going to go up. If we don't get it, then what it means is we're on the upside of the curve, which is fine, and I'm more than willing, if we start to see some consistent upward, to move these up to get in on some of these orders. And we'll lose some of the upside, and that's fine, but we're kind of taking away more of the risk or the more of the uncertainty in that as well. So we're gonna profit either way. So with that being said, let's see what the market has for tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Now, this is just a small sample of what we have in our full program. If you want to change the results you're having, you want to get rid of the struggle, and you want to actually have sales be easy, where people naturally are signing up with you all the time, and you're not really even putting in much effort, it's time to make that change in your life right now. Go ahead and click on the button below and get started in our full program. And when you do click on that button, you're going to get a full description of what we get the program. I have a couple bonuses that I want to throw your way. We're constantly adding free stuff to the program. And it's also going to talk about our full no-brainer guarantee. So click on the button below to get started now.